Family, family, family. I am truly excited to be joining you today, January 1st, to kick off our 2017. Today, you are joining us on the Mental Toughening Training call. Myself, Margot Brisky, Sasha Simmons, and Ebone Johnson will be speaking to you today on what it means and what it looks like and how to become mentally tough. So we want to first thank you for joining us as we kick off our 2017 year. Our mental toughening training is where we bring you practical strategies and tips for eliminating excuses and self-defeating thoughts and behaviors. We are creating this space for you to connect with other women and share personal insights and healthy methods for you to begin to use in your daily life. During this interactive call, we will engage a healthy conversation regarding becoming mentally tough through situations that are designed to distract us from our purposed assignments. Family, prepare yourselves to become more willing, more accountable, and more distinctive. Before diving into this call, I want to make sure that we understand the mission not only of this call, but of DiscoverHer Life Coaching. DiscoverHer Life Coaching LLC is a lifestyle coaching company journeying alongside women as they take action in their lives in order to gain a true sense of self. Our primary focus is to help women learn to turn potential problems into satisfying and successful opportunities through self-healing, personal empowerment, and tapping into their unique gifts and purposes. We are dedicated to helping women become who they need in life. We believe that by taking action through empowerment, women learn to heal their selves and their lives' purposes are ignited. Once again, family, I want to welcome you to the Mental Toughening Training call. Please allow me to first introduce myself. I am Margot Brisky, and I want to briefly share with you why I felt it was monumentally important for us bring you this topic. By now, I'm sure that all of us know that hardships are inevitable. But what can we do to properly prepare to face and overcome the adversity that arises in our lives? You see, I struggled with a number of different things in my life: adoption, forms of abandonment, sexual assault, juvenile detention, substance abuse and dependency, promiscuity, and so much more. Every single one of these things could have interfered with me becoming the person I needed to be. I truly needed to become mentally tough. And so I would like to share with each and every one of you how I was able to overcome the adversity that I faced in my life, whereby I was no longer defined by my situations or the things that I was going through. Be willing. Let's take some time to focus on what it means to be willing, but what being willing has to do with becoming mentally tough. I want to take you back to the moment I decided to become mentally tough. I was a freshman in high school, and at the time, my GPA was a 0.96. Yes, you heard me correctly, a 0.96 GPA. Now, I don't want to talk about how or why, because that'll take us on a tangent. What I do want to emphasize is how this story plays a significant role in mental toughening. As I said, I had a 0.96. So you can clearly see that by no means was I trying at all to succeed academically. And one of my teachers decided that he was going to confront me by telling me that at the rate I was going, I was not going to be eligible to flip burgers at McDonald's. I don't know about you, but for me, there is no ambition in being a McDonald's crew member. No disrespect to any of you on the call who work at McDonald's or any other fast food joint. But for me, I knew I was purposed for so much more. At that very moment is when I decided to become mentally tough. By third quarter, I raised my GPA to a 2.5. Now, a 2.5 may not be excellent, but remember where I started. By first quarter of my sophomore year, I had gotten my GPA up to a 3.8. Here's the thing. I had this in me all along, but I did not care enough. My why was not big enough, and I could not see my worth, my value, and I was not tapped into my purpose. So eliminating all of the things that have happened in my life, I had to choose to become the person that I needed. And I needed someone who valued themselves. I needed someone who was able to speak life into themselves and walk in what and who they had been called to be. So I chose to learn to eliminate my excuses, everything that was setting me back or holding me back rather, and I had to become willing enough to learn to release the self-defeating thoughts and behaviors that I allowed to define me. So this is a great story, right? But what does any of this mean? How is it relevant to mental toughening? Let me make this tangible in 6 points. Number 1, I had to take action and responsibility in my own life. I also had to identify triggers and obstacles that were hindering me from becoming who I needed. What I did, I was able to create tangible solutions that worked for me, which means that I no longer listened to what everybody else had to say about me. Oftentimes, people would come into my life and tell me what I needed to do to change, but they weren't around me 24/7. So some of them even had a skewed perception of who I was and what needed to change in my life. The third thing I had to learn to do is do things without the expectation of reciprocity. What this means is I had to learn to do things without expecting something in return. One of the things that was most pivotal was beginning to visualize myself outside of my current situation. I had to be willing enough to see what it is that I wanted to achieve. Who did I want to be? And begin to see myself there, see myself and visualize myself in that space. I also want to stress that it's important for you to begin to engage your willingness to be stretched, challenged, and evolved. When we're stretched, this is us getting uncomfortable. We're putting ourselves in situations that we may not be accustomed to. They may be a little bit foreign to us, but they're stretching us and helping us become who we're supposed to be. A statement that used to always be said to me was proper preparation prevents poor performance. So when you plan, you're better prepared. And when you're better prepared, this helps you prevent poor performance. Your willingness to accept challenges or holding yourself to a higher standard shows that you are ready to truly begin to invest in yourself and become mentally tough. And then you can evolve or move into the space where you can recognize or tap into what you need to do to become mentally tough. The last point that I want to make is that we must be willing to unlearn certain philosophies, the unhealthy or outdated philosophies, that is. What was true before may not be applicable today. So now it's up to you. It's in your hands, the decision to become mentally tough. Take action and responsibility in your life. Identify tangible solutions that work for you. Be willing to visualize yourself outside of your current situation. And make sure that you regularly challenge yourself. Next, I want to introduce to you one of my phenomenal friends, the phenomenal and amazing Sasha Simmons, the empowerment activist, motivational speaker, and inspirational speaker. Over the last 8 months, I've been able to grow and connect with Sasha on a number of different levels. She's one of my accountability partners. The reason why I had to be sure that Sasha was on this call as one of the speakers is that she, with a number of different expert topics, she has the tools and the power to help individuals establish their own greatness. So without further ado, please welcome the amazing, the phenomenal Sasha Simmons.
Thank you so much, Margot. Thank you. 2017 is in, and we're already having issues. The devil is trying to kick up his heels. Right. We are not going to allow anyone to stop our greatness, because you know what? Things happen. I have a speaking coach who has a business, and he launched this huge, amazing event and this huge, amazing campaign he was doing. And the day of the launch, his website just shut down for 3 hours. And no one at the site, at the company, could figure out what was wrong. Customers were going crazy. It was just horrible. So these things happen. We know these things happen. But you know what? That's called life. And you have to work through them anyways. So we're going to keep pushing forward, and we're going to be fine.
That is exactly it. Mental toughness. That's what we're talking about right here.
That's exactly right. So, Margot, I just want to say thanks to you for putting this together and for inviting me on the call, and to congratulate you on everything that you're doing with DiscoverHer, because you are literally changing the lives of young women, one individual at a time, and that's so important. So kudos to you for all the work that you're doing. As Margot said, my name is Sasha Simmons. I am the founder of Speak Life, LLC, and what we do is focus on helping people create their lives, whatever that looks like, being the best you possible, and to establish your own greatness. I say it, I live it, I breathe it, I love it. And that is what we're doing. That's what we're going to jump into here today. And one of the things I tell my friend all the time is the only thing I know how to do is speak truth, and truth as I know it. And to some people, they may not understand that. They may not believe it, but I know what works for me. And that is how I have been navigating my life. And I promise you that if you can take some of the information I'm going to give to you today, just a tidbit of it, just one thing, and apply it to your life somehow, you will begin to control and navigate your life in the direction you want to do. So today we're talking about mental toughness as it relates to accountability, what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. And I want to share with you guys a story that happened to me recently. I started back boxing. I took a year off from boxing, and I recently started back boxing. And so I'm in there with the trainer, and I'm hitting the punching bag, and I'm sweating. And, you know, I'm feeling like I'm little Ali in the ring. But the more I go, I'm getting really, really tired and really exhausted. And in the middle of our session, I just stopped. And I'm just done. I don't want to do this. It's exhausting. It's tired. I mean, I was in pain. I was hungry. I was thirsty, and I was off focus. And my trainer looked at me. He said, "You need to work on mental toughness when it comes to boxing." And when he said that, it resonated with me in such a way. And so I just really keep picturing those. Every time I'm boxing now, I picture those two words in my head, mental toughness. And although it is hard, it is difficult, it is painful, it hurts, it gets me through because I have some visualization. And we're going to talk about a little bit of what that means as far as accountability is related. So whatever you're going through in life, doesn't matter what it is, you have to understand that a lot of times we're focusing on the wrong thing, and that makes it so difficult. We're thinking about the pain. We're thinking about the sacrifice. We're thinking about the inconvenience that's going to come, but you have to shift your focus. And when you shift your focus, the thing that you really want is that it becomes in your view, and you're able to go after that really hard. So let's talk about the significance of accountability. What is accountability? Why do people keep talking about it? We hear this word day in, day out. We go to different events. We're on different committees, and we hear this word accountability. But what does it look like to be accountable to yourself? And that's here today is because I've noticed something about specifically women, not to discount men. We love men, but also to talk specifically about women. We'll commit to everyone else. We'll commit to everything else. Husbands, boyfriends, jobs, friends. We never want to counsel on friends, but we won't commit to our dreams, our goals, our aspirations. We won't hold ourselves accountable for our future. And that's important. So, ladies, you have to understand, and gentlemen, you have to understand that you have to hold your own self accountable. You have to commit to your own dreams, to your own self, just the same way this is one of the things that I think we should do. The same way you commit to your friends and you say, I'm going to attend this meeting, or I'm going to be at your house party, or I'm going to be at a celebration, and you do not want to cancel on that friend, then why are you canceling on your dream? So if you're committing to, I'm going to write 1 page a day, or I'm going to work out for 30 minutes a day, or I'm going to have this session with one person or 2 individuals a day, you need to commit to that and really hold it to yourself, like commit to yourself and require yourself to live up to that. Personify your dreams, your goals, and your aspiration, because what would you feel like if somebody canceled on you last minute? We've all had someone cancel on us, or someone we feel like we can't count on, and it's an awful feeling. So your dreams are feeling this every single time you renege, every single time you cancel. I was playing a game of spades at a friend's house recently, and I'm no expert spades player, but I did something called reneging. And the guys that I was playing with got so upset because I reneged on a book. So that is exactly, you need to take that same fire, that same enthusiasm on reneging on your dreams. But we don't do that. And I'm not sure why, but we just we'll do it for later, or I don't want to focus on it right now, or I'll come back to it. And every single time you're doing that, every single time, you're just going further and further and further back in your dream. So this year, I want us to eliminate excuses, and I want us to extract results. That's the focus. Eliminate excuses and extract results. Doesn't matter how tired you are. Change your focus. It doesn't matter what's going on, all the fun things that's happening in life. Change your focus. What is it that you really want? So now, I don't want to take up all the time, but I do want to talk about some of the ways to remain accountable. One of the things that helped me in 2016 is I have amazing accountability partners. Margot is one of them, and we hold each other accountable to doing what it is that we say we're going to get done, and we push each other. You know what, Sasha, you said you're going to write 10 pages? No, I feel like you need to push harder for 15, and you need those type of people in your life to keep pushing you forward and to keep helping you get the traction that you need to chase your dreams. Also, let's talk about work partners. Whether it's a workout partner, whether you want to go to a coffee shop and you're coding and you're calling somebody and say, hey, do you want to meet me at place X so we can work together? Because it just makes it easier to do it with somebody. We are not silos. We operate together, and it's important to understand that as you navigate your dream. Also, deadlines. Give yourself deadlines. One of the things that's helped me is breaking my year out in quarters. So quarter 1, January, February, and March, focus on what you're going to do in that first quarter and hold yourself accountable to that. Have a goal for the end of the quarter and just work towards that. Don't bite off such a large chunk. Don't try to look at the entire year. Break it down into quarters, and in those quarters, break it down by month, and in those months, break it down by week so that it's small and that it's manageable. I talked briefly earlier about visualization. Visualization is so important because it allows you to put into focus the thing that you are working on and the thing that you want. And that is important because as stuff play in your mind, you ever had a song that's been playing on the radio and next thing you know it's just stuck in your head over and over and over, or you saw a movie and you keep replaying this scene from the movie? It's visualization. It's because you've seen something. It's because it was there. It's in front of you, or you've experienced it somehow, and now it's kind of in your being. And that is exactly what you can do for your dreams, and one of the things you can do to hold yourself accountable. And the last thing I want to talk about as far as how to remain accountable is to change your attitude about it. The one thing that we all have in common in life is everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care how bourgeois you appear to be or anything of that nature, every single one of us likes to have fun and likes to have a good time. So change your attitude about the task that you have to do. Change your attitude about it. Put a spin on it. Make it fun. Make it exciting. Get excited about your life, because that's what you're doing. When you are accountable, you are creating your life, and that is how you establish your own greatness. That is how you chase those dreams. That is how you hit numbers. That is how you see results. Also, some of the reasons we're not accountable. Let's talk about it. We live in a real world. It is no reason to sugarcoat it and make it seem like something that it's not. So let's talk about it, okay? Dreams and your goals and your aspirations are a convenience to you. They are not a priority. That is one of the reasons why sometimes we do not hold ourselves accountable, because our dreams are a convenience and they are not a priority. So I dare you in 2017 to make your dreams a priority and not a convenience. Not a when I get around to it, not a maybe later, not a after this football game goes over, not after this brunch because I want to turn up and have some mimosas. I like a good mimosa myself, but you have to understand, how are you prioritizing your dreams, your life, your goals, your aspirations? And the last thing of why we're not accountable is, honestly, sometimes we're just not hungry enough. When you are hungry, when you're really, really, really hungry. Now, listen, I grew up in a religion and we had to do fasting. And sometimes I was just really hungry. And when you are fasting and you're hungry, the only thing you're thinking about is the next piece of food you're going to get. So when you become hungry for your dream and you become hungry for this goal that you have in your life, by shifting your focus, you will hold yourself accountable and you will get it done, because you know what? You want to eat. So finally, ladies, I'm just going to say this. Being accountable requires intentional action. It is not something that you do on accident. It is not something that you stumble upon. It is intentional. And so I dare you, really, this year, I dare you to make your dreams a priority. And this year, eliminate all those excuses and extract results. Thank you so much. Margot, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to stop because I'm on a tangent.
Sasha, thank you so much. I told you, you guys, that I was bringing Sasha in, and she delivered. Sasha, thank you. Thank you for bringing the message that you did. And I knew that you were going to deliver it in this way. The accountability piece. Several things that you mentioned. And I just want to recap on these main things. I know majority of you who are on the call are taking notes, so I want to be sure. You don't have to take these notes. These are my notes. This is what's going to help me to continue to become mentally tough. As I said, Sasha is my accountability partner. She also mentioned that as well. And so this journey of becoming mentally tough, we're talking about accountability. That accountability piece is that partnership, doing life together, journeying alongside others who truly believe in you, but also your success and your ability and your gift to succeed, right? So it's not just that piece. So a couple points that you mentioned, Sash, operating together, pushing each other, deadlines, changing your attitude. Those are monumentally important. And what I said, going back to the willingness piece, being willing. What are you willing to do? In that moment, because I knew Sasha was going to touch on several things, and we're going to hear from Ebony, and then we're going to wrap up all of these three aspects, the willingness, the accountability, and the distinctiveness. But that main point about changing your attitude, you must be willing to change your attitude. If you are not willing to see your situation from a different perspective or from an objective perspective, you will oftentimes remain stagnant. And so that's the last thing I want to highlight before we introduce Ebony. Are you hungry? Is the question I want to throw back to every person on this call. Are you hungry enough? Sasha, that's what you mentioned. Mental toughness requires intentional action. So, Sasha, one more time, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today with us to help us kick off our 2017 in the right direction by helping us see and understand what it means to be accountable in regard to becoming mentally tough. Thank you again so much. Ebone Johnson, the head muse in charge. Now, when I met this woman via Facebook, and I reached out to her because I knew that she was connected to this organization where once a month, it's a free workshop for the community on various topics. There we go. I can grab my thoughts together. So my mentor did a workshop one day, and I said, hey, you know what? I want to do this too, and I'm trying to refine my vision, and I really don't know where I'm going with this, And I said, well, let me reach out to this lady. She looks nice. So I reached out to her, and she literally popped my bubble. And the bubble that I'm thinking of was I thought I was doing what I was doing, and I'm over here making all these videos and doing all these things. And the videos that I was creating were all less than 5 minutes. So no one really knew the message and the vision that I was really pushing out. And the vision and the mission is helping women become empowered by healing and gaining a true sense of themselves. It's a phenomenal mission when you know what it is. But you can't really grasp this vision and mission in a 1 minute or a 30-second clip. And so that's what she said to me. She said, well, how can you talk for an hour and all your content is under 5 minutes? And so I went in and I said, well, hey, if you don't believe in women empowerment and blah, 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 and this and that. And that was our first exchange. But it was a great exchange because I wasn't coming at her in the way trying to trump her or even say that she didn't support women empowerment. But I needed her to know that I was serious, that I needed her to know that if she just gave me that opportunity to step out and stand up and really share my voice and share my story, that people would be empowered, that women would be able to tap into their unique gifts, that they would be able to be healed. And so we had a conversation, and we had a phenomenal workshop. And so journeying over the last several months with Ebony, just the same as Sasha, has been pivotal to my journey of becoming not only a stronger woman, but truly becoming mentally tough. So I would like to introduce to you my fellow Leo, Miss Ebone Johnson.
So that was such a joyous introduction. I am so happy to be here. And, yes, I check everybody. Everybody will get checked into greatness. Absolutely. Good afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you at. I will go ahead and preface all of my conversations with I am country. And my southern drawl will probably come out from time to time. And if anybody has any questions about what the heck it was that I said, please write that down and ask me at the end, and I will gladly address your question. But like all three of us are very, very excited, and so I may talk through some things very, very quickly, and it's not my intention to throw you off or anything like that, but I'm just excited to be able to give back the things that have been pivotal for me and my platform, and how I bring value to my friends and my relationships and acquaintances as well. So my position is on how to be distinctive. And my whole brand, and everybody knows, if you met me, you've heard me say at least 5 times in 5 minutes, protect your brand. The whole thing with my brand is making sure that I stand out. My mantra is be the first, be the best, be different. None of us remember anything that was mundane, that was rudimentary, that was routine. None of us remember any of those things, but we do remember those things that spoke to our soul. We remember those things that made us stand up and clap. We remember those things that made our heads tilt at a 90-degree angle, like, I didn't even think about stuff like that. Like, how'd you even come up with this idea? I would have never thought to put that there. I would have never thought to put it on like that. Our lives are changed by things that are absolutely distinctive, things that are absolutely different, things that absolutely stand out. And the main reason why I decide to be distinctive, the main reason why I absolutely have to be different, not necessarily saying that I'm being somebody that I'm not. I'm absolutely being who I am. And unfortunately, in these days and times, being your absolute true self is different. Everybody else is trying to be somebody else. And guess what? The new different is actually being who you were already created to be. So I decide to be different. I decide to be absolutely Ebony, because every time I decide, and it's a decision not to wake up and show up for your life, it's a decision. So every time we decide not to be who we authentically are, we rob the next person of the opportunity of authenticity. When you decide that I'm going to do what everybody else is doing, the next person behind you, your kids, your friends, your spouse, whomever, is going to follow up behind you, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to do what everybody else is doing. And who does that serve? Who does that edify? Who does that help at the end of the day? It helps no one. We are here because we are all created uniquely and beautifully different on purpose with intention, and it is our business. We all don't have the same one. What we do have are the people that we've been introduced to in life that have been placed strategically to you in life to help you achieve those goals. Everything that we absolutely want or everything that we absolutely desire or any of those things that keep you up late at night and you're mulling over them, like how do I do this, how can I get this, yada, yada, yada. All of those people, all those things, those resources, they are right at your fingertips. We have to ask. We have to be daring to be ourselves and be absolutely acceptable of who we are and ask for those things. Ask those people. Manifest it into the stars. Talk to the moons if you have to, but it is there and it is at your reach. The other thing I dare you to do in being distinctive, I dare you to inspire other people in a way that renders the response, I had not thought about it like that. In my introduction, as I was saying, you should be able to tilt somebody's head at a 90-degree angle. You should be able to tell them, like, hey, that's not, or have you been able to think about it in a different manner? Have you tried it this way? Have you tried it that way? And it's not to hijack what they've already said. It's not to hijack their dreams. It's not to hijack their vision. However, you've been given purpose. And in your purpose, you have a different perspective. And as long as you're delivering the message in a way of love and transparency, and you're able to allow that person to be vulnerable and trust you in the same manner, then your message will be received. We should always be entering into conversations. We should always be entering into relationships, friendships, same-sex, heterosexual, I don't care what it is. We should always be entering into those, trying to figure out a way that when we walk away from the situation, even if it's just a 5-minute conversation, even if it's just an hour phone call on January 1st to kick off your new year, what did I get from this? We should not be entering into mundane conversations. Conversations are meant to build you up. And so if you didn't learn anything from the last conversation that you had, evaluate that person, evaluate yourself, and dig deeper. Be different in your conversations. Make that person teach you something. Make that person teach you something, absolutely. And the last thing, as I already said, my moniker is be first, be the best, be different. Whatever it is that you want to do in business and life, you be the first at it. If you're the first out of your family, do that. And it doesn't matter if they label you the black sheep. It doesn't matter if you're the first one to try to do it. It doesn't matter, because guess what? Somebody's got to do it, so why not you? Be the best. You're going to step out. You're going to hone your skills. You're going to research. You're going to Google the hell out of it. And don't let anybody tell you any different. Google will save your life every single time. Now, in that aspect, you can be like everybody in Google. Other than that, don't do it. Be the absolute best at it. And the best doesn't necessarily have to be your product. It doesn't have to be the service. It doesn't have to be any of the. It could be you. You show up and you be the best person that you are, because people buy things often. But at this point in time, they're absolutely buying who you are. So you be the best at that. And then finally, you be different. Why do I want to buy this? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to go to the park with her? Why do I want to go to the movies with him? Because there's something about this person that I feel like I'm going to learn. There have been many people who have met me. They don't know me from John. And they say, you know what, Ebony, I don't know you, but I feel like I need to stay attached to you because it's something about you. Make sure every time you leave somebody, you leave them saying it's something about you and I need to stay attached, because that person is then going to become a resource. And like I stated earlier, they're going to be somebody that you can speak to for those things that you've been dreaming about, those visions that you have and what your purpose and calling is in life. Lastly, in all of this, at the end of the day, this is what people want. And I got this from the book called The Power of Broke, called Damon John, that I got from Sasha. Thanks, Sasha. The quote says, when it comes down to it, people want to experience something pure, something real. They want to be lifted from their everyday experiences, from what's expected, and set down in the middle of something completely and breathtakingly new. And if it's going to be a something or a someone, just ensure that when people touch you, when they feel your presence, they are in the presence of dopeness. They are in the presence of absolute awesomeness. And that's how you will be different and distinctive every single time, every day of your life. You show up, You show out, you be the first, you be the best, you be different, and you be absolutely distinctive. And all of these things, you do not apologize for them. You be absolutely unapologetic about how you change lives. And that's it for me, y'all.
You have heard from the let me spell it right. H-I-M-C, right? Yep.
No,
yep,
H-M-I-C.
Ooh, see, I thought I did. I tried. Look, I'm not a spelling bee champ. I am an English teacher. That's it. I will not. Never have I once anybody on this call who can declare and decree that I've never once said I was a spelling bee champ.
Fellas, I do got to make sure that we at least highlight you and take some time to incorporate what all of this means for you. How can you guys become mentally tough in regards to being willing, being accountable, and being distinctive? We need you now more than ever. We need you to stand up. But in this process of standing up, we need to be willing to step back in order to allow you to stand up, step up, and handle your responsibilities as a man and ultimately as a king. But what this means is that we need to see leadership qualities. We need to see that you can lead. We need to see that you're willing to be alpha, that you're willing to take a stand and do what you need to do to be accountable and be distinctive. We live in a society where so many men are marginalized and emasculated, and women are praised for being independent and stepping up to handle responsibilities that are designated or intended for the man to handle and carry out. Now, we all know that there are people who sit there and say, oh, well, women can do everything that men can do. That is totally fine, but that is not what we're talking about. The original design, men have been called to do specific things, and we as women cannot and should not try to do those very things. So men, we need you to be more willing. Now, I can't speak on behalf of every woman, but what I expect, because I do hold you men, the men that are directly connected to me, I do hold you all to a higher standard. So some of my expectations in regard to willingness, accountability, and distinctiveness correlated to being mentally tough is standing up for what you value and what you believe. So first and foremost, that means you need to identify, determine, and stand up for what it is that you value. Stop settling. You are worth more than a lot of you give yourselves credit, and that is very disappointing. Begin to surround yourself around other men who are truly making an impact, not only in other people's lives, but in the community. They're giving back. They're showing up and handling their responsibilities. No matter what it is that you've gone through or what your situation is, your past experiences do not have to define you. Take a chance to explore something new. If you continue to put yourself in situations that you've experienced before and you find yourself with the same results or in the same outcomes, you might want to rethink putting yourself in those same scenarios. Because you're not another average John, how can you be distinctive? What sets you apart from every other fella in this world? Walk in that. Tap into your uniqueness and be distinctively you.
As we wrap up this call, we have a couple more minutes left. So we do have Eb and Sash back on the line. And I'm going to say a few more things, just major takeaways just from this call and what I want to be sure that each of us take away. Then we want to hear from Sash as well as Ebony. And then we still want to allow you all to ask questions. So what we're going to do, we do have to take one extra step, but invest in you because you are worth it. So we want to hear everybody's question. We want to see everybody's questions. So the comments that you have, the questions that you have for myself, for Ebony, for Sasha, our conversation, we're going to take it back to the Facebook event page. We're taking it to that platform. Post your questions there. And if you're not comfortable posting your question outright on that post, send a message to me, and I will post your question because we want to make sure that we're addressing the question. So as we're wrapping up, you can actually go ahead and take it to that platform and begin to ask your questions now, and we'll have a little bit of time to answer those questions. So go ahead and do that. So the one main piece that I want to be sure that we all take away when we're talking about becoming mentally tough is that we're aligning ourselves in the position to tap into our unique purpose. We are gaining a true sense of self, and it is past time because we are in a state of emergency. We need to not only do better, but we need to be better. If we are not contributing to the solution, we are part of the problem. So be willing to dig in and figure out who you have been called to be and begin to prepare, plan, and prepare again to become who you need to become. Be accountable and be distinctive. Sash, I believe you're still on the line. Sasha, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Sasha, give it to him. Give him some takeaways.
You know, one thing that I did not say that I want to be sure to highlight is that when you are developing your mental toughness and being accountable and distinctive and willing, it's important to be very specific in your goals. So as you're setting these goals, I just read something this morning. Don't say, I want to work out more or I want to be more present or whatever. Like, be very specific. If you want to work out more, say how many times a week you want to work out or how many times a day or for how long. Be very specific in that because that's another piece where a lot of things drop a lot of times because we are not specific in what it is we want. So make sure you are breaking it down to its lowest factor and you are being very, very specific in your goal. And that's really all I wanted to add for today.
Sash, in that, what I do with my coaching partners, it's called SMART goals. Sash, I know you're familiar with SMART goals, are you not?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Those SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Timing, yep.
Take that, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Eb, what's your major takeaway? Or what should their major takeaway be in regard to distinctiveness and becoming mentally tough?
In regard to distinctiveness and being mentally tough, just a few things. I went to Cahoots, and they had a women's leadership panel, and so I jotted down some things that assisted me in my mental toughness. So I'll share those as takeaways for everybody that's on the call today. Get over yourself.
Repeat.
Let that marinate.
Repeat.
Get over yourself. Take some risks. Advocate for yourself, and don't wait for permission. We wait and we procrastinate because somebody didn't tell us or give us the green light. They don't need to. You can walk in a different direction. You can walk around that light. It may be an additional block that you have to go to, but you can make it to the other side and not have to wait for something to tell you what it is that you need to do to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Stop trying to plan, control, and figure it all out. Some of this stuff just drops in your lap, real talk. Other stuff, you can plan it out. You can be as strategic as you want to. You can do a whole 3-year plan if you want to. But some of the best will tell you that 3-year plan gets shot when life happens. In the midst of all of these awesome things happening to you, life happens, shakes up your 3-year plan, and then what? Right? So some of this stuff, you're going to have to just be open and be willing, like Margot spoke about. You're going to have to be willing to go with the flow on some of the things. Not all of it, but some of it. Show up and create value. Don't just be there taking up room, sucking up oxygen from somebody else. Be in that space and create value for the next person. Every time you open your mouth, somebody should feel it. Somebody should feel it. Even in your silence, they should feel your presence, okay? Create plans. Take the first step. Recreate and then recreate. Recreate and then recreate. So by recreate, I mean, have some hobbies, take some trips, get some things about yourself that make you interesting, right? Because these things are going to be distinctive. My mom always said to strive to know a little about a lot. And that helps your conversations with all kinds of people in various places in the world, various levels in life. Learn a little about a lot. It will absolutely change your life. And then recreate. You may have to recreate the person that you thought that you were and step into who you truly, truly are. Absolutely decide to be who you are so that the next person that comes along and meets you, you'll be a mirror for them. So either they can see themselves in you, or they'll walk away trying to be more like you. And we don't want them to be more like us. We want them to be them, right? Become ruthless with your time. Everybody does not need your time. And it's okay to brush people off. If it's not edifying to you, it's okay to let them go. I'm not saying to be rude. I'm not saying to be inconsiderate, but everything that's dumped off in you, that spreads over into what you're trying to do, especially of the negative nature, if that makes sense. And then also appreciate silence. I always tell my friends, get you some silence. Turn off some TVs, turn off the radio, get a babysitter for the kids, take yourself to a coffee shop, take yourself on a date. Do something where it's just you and you're not talking to anybody. You're having a chance to commune with yourself. Check back in with yourself. We're waiting on so many other things to tell us what to do, how to move, how to look, how to dress. Talk to you. Talk to you. You are your best reference. And that's it.
Ladies, one more time. I have to thank both of you, Sasha.
Oh, one more thing. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
One more thing.
Go.
Most important thing, always make time for the things that feed your soul, okay? For the things that feed your soul, not succubus things like housewives, things that feed your soul. And that's it. I'm really done. I'm really, really, really done.
Are you sure? Do you see, this is what in your accountability group, this is what happens when you have two Leos. We just keep talking and we just keep going. You can't get rid of us. No. And we always have to add one more thing. You see, I just did it. I can't remember. And Sasha, both of you, thank you truly so much for joining me in this vision of bringing this message, this experience of becoming mentally tough. Now, I know when we initially had the conversation, you ladies jumped on board, and we were ultimately excited, and then we pushed the vision out, and all these other individuals, women, men, girls, they were ultimately excited to even figure out what we were going to be talking about. And then we get on the call this afternoon, and the mute's not working. We can't get questions, all this other extra stuff. But this is exactly what we're talking about. Become mentally tough. Because things in life happen unexpectedly. We're setting up for an empowerment call, and we can't get the guest speakers to speak. We can't get the individuals and participants on the call to ask their questions. But we continue. We become mentally tough because we have individuals in our accountability group who help us and say, hey, continue to do this, or switch this up a little bit, or, hey, have me call you on different things. And there are always something more. There's always something additional that we can do. But we often limit ourselves when we stay confined mentally. So become mentally tough. Remove your limitations. Each and every one of you, I want to challenge you today to become mentally tough. Your excuses are no longer admissible. Your self-defeating thoughts and behaviors, take a stand against them. Learn to be willing, whatever that looks like for you. Learn to be accountable and allow other people to see your messiness, and be distinctively you. As my sis, Eb says, be you unapologetically. And as my sis, Sash says, learn to establish your own greatness. Family, thank you for joining us today on our call for Mental Toughening Training. Learn to be willing, learn to be accountable, and learn to be distinctive. Because when you, ladies, discover her, you are able to discover your life. Be well. Blessings.